Certain members of the INEOS board reportedly want Gareth Southgate as the new manager if Erik ten Hag is sacked. Bids rejected for Leny, Yoro, Joao Neves and Wan-Bissaka, and a new contract for Mainoo. These are some of the stories we're going to be discussing on this evening's live show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 200 likes on this evening's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel as well. I'm live every single day in the morning, the evening, and if anything breaks, I also go live as well. So make sure you subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right. Let's start the show off with some positivity because there's so much uncertainty at the moment. There's so much anger, frustration, confusion. I mean, I could keep going. But the positive story I've got for you today is that Mainoo is about to sign a new contract at Manchester United worth around £60,000 per week. I mean, that's completely deserved, isn't it? £60,000 a week, I think, is a very, very good contract for Man United, you know? To be able to get him to agree to that. I know he's only had one season. I know he's only 19 and all the rest of it. But when you think Marcus Rashford's on over 300k a week, McTominay's on, I think, about 120. Eriksen's on about 150. Now, I know they're all a lot more experienced players who, you know, obviously would expect a higher wage. But this, to me, is INEOS showing us that they're trying to restructure the wage bill. I spoke about this a couple of days ago, that one of the most important things with INEOS coming in is that they sort out the wage bill. And we had a big debate about whether Bruno should be given a new contract. And the general gist of that conversation was that Bruno Fernandes deserves to be the highest earner at the club because he's the best player. The stats prove that. But the logical thing isn't to give him the same as a Rashford, because otherwise we open the door to every time a player starts performing well, they're going to say, you know what, I want to be earning the same as them. And I think what we've done with Garnacho, what we've done with Højlund, and what we've done with Mainoo, they're all starters. They're all first-team players for Man United, but they're all on about £60,000 a week, which is how much ideally we'd want to be paying, you know. I know obviously if you get a superstar in like Vinny Jr. or, I don't know, an Erling Haaland, then obviously they're going to want the top dollar, aren't they? But the point I'm trying to make here is, like, INEOS have done really well with this one because Mainoo he's just been called up to the England squad. They've just announced the squad for the Euros. Mainoo's in that squad. He's starting every single week for Man United. He's scoring important goals for Man United. He's winning trophies with Man United in his first season. So I actually commend INEOS for, one, getting his new contract signed, and two, at a reasonable wage. Because the old Manchester United would have probably said, oh, we'll give you 200 grand a week. You know? I mean, Anthony's on 200 grand a week. Let that sink in. He was earning 20,000 a week at Ajax. He's come to Man United and he's now on 200,000. Like, it's crazy. And I think that that's one of the things that the fan base, or me in particular, I'm going to really focus on with INEOS is how they handle the wage bill. Because the more we bring down the wage bill, the more we'll be allowed to spend on players. Transfers, I mean, because of obviously profit and sustainability. So really, really happy about Mainoo. Couldn't be happy about that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section. How good do you think Mainoo can become? That's a question I've got for you. Like, what level do you think Mainoo is going to get to? Let me know. Like, what player, I don't know, maybe he's going to be as good as Paul Scholes. Is he going to be as good as Michael Carrick? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. I honestly think the sky is the limit with Mainoo. I think he could just get better and better and better and better. So yeah, really, really excited. And obviously it's great that he's about to put pen to paper on a new contract. Moving on from that, though, let's talk a little bit about some bids that have been rejected. 3 bids have been rejected, apparently, in the last 24 hours. And let's start with a new one, shall we? And that is Wan-Bissaka. The headline this evening is that Galatasaray have apparently had a transfer bid of 10 million euros rejected for Wan-Bissaka. It says Manchester United haven't accepted the offer, but have left the door open for further negotiations. I mean, 10 million euros for Wan-Bissaka would be an absolute joke. I'm sorry. An absolute joke. I don't think he's the right player for Man United going forward. I think he's very good defensively, but I think he's quite poor going forward, right? In an attacking sense. But there is no way on earth he's worth 10 million euros. I would 100% rather keep him as a backup option than sell him for 10 million euros. We paid 55 million euros for him 4 years ago. And I don't think he's got any worse since then. I think he's stayed the same. The only issue with Aaron Wan-Bissaka is he's only got 1 year left of his contract. So there will be clubs sniffing around his signature. And Man United effectively either need to sell him this year or give him a new deal, because otherwise he'll leave for free next summer. So it is a difficult situation to be in. But 10 million euros from Galatasaray, I'm sorry, that is an absolute embarrassment. Like, he's 26 years of age. He is a good player. He'd probably do really well in the Turkish league. £8.5 million. I think for me personally, I'd want to be seeing at least 20 to 30 million euros for Wan-Bissaka minimum. And even then, I think it's a little bit low. I think 20 to 30 million pounds is probably more realistic, which is what, 30 to 40 million euros. I don't think that's unreasonable, you know, given his age profile, given his defensive ability, given that he's played a lot of games this season and has done okay. But the Turkish teams always lowball offers. They always do. And I think, 10 million euros is literally absolutely embarrassing. So embarrassing. But the bid's been rejected anyway. So 10 million euros, Wan-Bissaka will not be going to Galatasaray for that. Man United reportedly want around 20 to 30 million. That's what I'm reading this evening. So I'll keep you updated on that one. I do think that Wan-Bissaka will leave the club this summer because, as I said, he has 1 year left. We haven't given him a new contract. We either sell him now or he leaves next year for free. So Man United are in a bit of a sticky situation in that sense. They need to make a decision now. They need to act on it. You know, other clubs in Europe will know that we don't want to give him a new deal, and we'll know that that probably weakens our position as a seller. But yeah, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, how much is Aaron Wan-Bissaka worth? What do you think would be a fair price? I would say 20 to 30 million pounds. That would be my prediction. Everyone who's just joined the video, could you do me a small favor and smash a like? We've got over 200 people watching already. I set a like target of 200 likes for today's show. If everyone likes the video right now, we will hit that target, which would be very much appreciated. And if you are new here today, we're very, very close to 23,000 subscribers. So please do go and subscribe if you haven't already. It will really, really help the channel to do bigger and better things in the future. We're literally 2 subscribers away. So please help get us to 23,000, and that would be a big, big achievement. Okay, let's move on to Leny Yoro then. Obviously, we spoke about him yesterday. Apparently, his agents were at Carrington yesterday, and Manchester United reportedly put in a bid of around £50 million for Leny Yoro. Leny Yoro wants to go to Real Madrid. That's my understanding. You know, he dreams of going to Real Madrid. He's heavily linked to Real Madrid. Real Madrid are apparently about to put in an offer for him. Leny Yoro is going to go to Real Madrid. He will not end up at Manchester United, which leaves us probably now looking at Jean-Claire Todibo or Gonçalo Inácio from Sporting Lisbon. There is also the potential that we go in for Jarrad Brathwaite as well. I think the Jarrad Brathwaite situation has actually just taken a surprising turn in the last couple of minutes, actually, because Jarrad Brathwaite has not been included in the Euro squad. He was part of the 33-man draft squad, but they can only take 26 players. So Jarrad Brathwaite isn't going to the Euros. And the reason I bring this up is that means that effectively he's available now. And I think his price is probably going to come down a bit because, you know, if he went to the Euros, he had a really good tournament. I don't know, say England won the Euros. His price is going to go up 20, 30, 40 million euros, isn't it? But the fact that he's been not included, and when you look at some of the defenders that have been included over him, Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Konza, and Mark Geyer. Those are the 4 people who've been picked over him. And I don't see how Everton can think they're going to get £80 million for him when he's just been dropped and Lewis Dunk's been picked over him. I mean, that doesn't really put you in a good negotiation. You know, if your star player, the one who you think's worth £80 million, hasn't been picked by Gareth Southgate. But the key thing with the Jarrad Brathwaite deal is that Everton need to sell players before the end of June. Otherwise, they could be in trouble. Apparently, there could be points reductions. There could be all sorts of things that could happen if they don't sell players by the end of June. So my expectation is that Jarrad Brathwaite will leave Everton. It's just whether Manchester United are the club that buy him or not. There are lots and lots of clubs interested in him. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But what would be interesting to know is who is your number 1 centre-back target? So, I mean, the main options are Gonçalo Inácio, Leny Yoro, Jarrad Brathwaite, and Jean-Claire Todibo. I would probably go in this order. Leny Yoro, not going to come though. Jean-Claire Todibo second. Gonzalo Inacio third, and Jared Brathwaite last. I just have this fear that Jared Brathwaite's just going to be another Maguire. I don't know why. I think we'll pay a big fee for him, the English hype, and then in a year or two we'll all be sat here saying we've been robbed. Yeah, but we'll wait and see what happens with that one. I think Todibo is probably the most likely option. I think, Gonzalo Inacio is an interesting option, but I don't personally think that one will happen. I think that it's just a way of trying to speed up other transfers, if that makes sense. Man United are always going to be linked to lots of deals, lots of clubs, always want to put our name in there to try and bump up the price. The other person, just to quickly cover before we move on, is Bremer from Juventus. Apparently Bremer has said that he would like to play in the Premier League someday. Obviously that sent people into a frenzy, saying that means he wants to come to Man United. Me personally, Bremer's a good player, but I think he's nearly 28, I think, in a couple of months. He's going to cost you 50, 60 million pounds. I don't think he's the right profile. I think we need someone younger, like a Leny Yoro, a Jean-Claire Todibo, a Jared Brathwaite. Like one of these players I get because they're younger. Whereas Bremer, 28 years of age. Yeah, he's got a release clause of about 60 million euros. I'm just looking up now. It's too much money, I think, for someone of that age profile. But you can let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section. Who would be your number one centre-back option? Let me know what you guys think. David says Todibo would be the easiest and best option. Yeah, I probably agree. I think he probably would be. Miniman says, if you could sign anyone, who would it be? That's a good question. Anyone at all? I mean, I'd probably say like Mbappe or something. Obviously, if we're doing like, stupid hypotheticals, just because I'd love to see Mbappe or someone of that caliber at Man United. But if we're talking like a realistic signing, I think Joao Neves would be a really good signing. I think, someone like that. We need a really solid midfielder, effectively. So Joao Neves, maybe Frankie de Jong, like someone like that, a really good midfielder would be my kind of like dream signing. But if we're doing unrealistic dream signings, it would be like Mbappe or Vinny or someone like that. But that's obviously never going to happen. So yeah, Jeremy says we need Thomas Tuchel. Interesting. Fair enough. That's obviously... Let me know why you think we need Thomas Tuchel. Let me know what you think he'd bring. I'd love to, have that conversation. Right. So who have we talked about? Joao Neves. Let's move on to him quickly. Because apparently Man United's bid for Joao Neves was rejected. £51 million, apparently Manchester United offered. And Benfica have said they want £85 million minimum, which is a hell of a lot of money. Crazy money. Probably too much money, being completely honest, £85 million for an 18-year-old. Sorry, I think he's 19, actually. That I'm sorry, but that is too much, isn't it? I get it. He's got a release clause. He's under contract. They don't need to sell him. They're going to ask for the release clause to be paid, aren't they? Which makes complete sense, and I respect that. But it's just whether Man United want to spend 85 million on one player who's only 19 years of age. I think it's a little bit risky, personally. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. Let's do a poll, actually, on that quickly. At the moment, the poll is, would you swap Ten Hag for Southgate? 92% of you say no, and 8% of you say yes. So there you go. I don't think 9% of you want Southgate. Let's do a poll about Joao Gomez. Whilst I set this up, please like the video quickly, guys. We've got 300 of you in the live show today, guys. So let's hit the 200 likes target. And make sure you subscribe as well. Let's do this. Would you sign Joao Neves? Oh, I've spelled his name wrong. Joao Neves for 85 million. So obviously, if you're watching this back on repeat, you can let me know in the comment section. If you're watching this live, you can obviously get involved in the poll. But for me personally, would I like to sign Joao Neves? Yes. Would I like to sign Joao Neves for 85 million? No, I think it's way too much money. Way too much money. David says, we will get Southgate. It's very obvious. We're waiting for after the Euros. We'll talk about Southgate in a minute, mate. Big ups to Fred, who's just gifted 5 Daily Red Devil memberships. Absolute legend, mate. Thank you very much for your support. Everyone who's just been gifted a membership from Fred, please do make sure to say thank you in the chat. And if you want to get involved in the live shows, make sure you tune in, because obviously people gift memberships. We have a good chat. So if you're watching this back and it's not live, then make sure you try and join in on the live ones, because it's always good fun. Okay, let's talk about Gareth Southgate then. So this story's coming out from a journalist called Steve Bates. He writes for various different newspapers in England, and he is reporting this evening that Gareth Southgate is top of Dan Ashworth's list should Manchester United decide to sack Eric Ten Hag. I mean, that doesn't make me fill me with any hope, but as somebody said earlier on in the chat, maybe we are waiting for the Euros. Maybe we are waiting for Gareth Southgate to come to Manchester United. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any urgency with this decision about Eric Ten Hag, does there? And I've said this to you many, many times before. My understanding is that INEOS want a yes man. They want a puppet. They want somebody who they can control. They want somebody who's going to effectively have as little power as possible, and their only job is going to be to coach the players in the way that they've been told to by INEOS. And Gareth Southgate fits that profile perfectly. You know, he's got a good relationship with the media. He's already worked with Dan Ashworth at the FA. Like, from that perspective, Gareth Southgate is the perfect manager for Manchester United. But he's the least person I want to be the new manager. Does that make sense? Let me explain my reasoning here. For what INEOS are trying to do with the club, and for the amount of power they're willing to give a manager, and all of those things, Gareth Southgate fits that criteria of who would fit in that box. Thomas Tuchel falls out with the owners. Poch, I mean, I think he's fallen out with the owners at Chelsea and wanted more responsibility. Roberto De Zerbi also wanted more responsibility and wanted more say on the players. Whereas, imagine if Gareth Southgate was the Man United manager. He'd be like, how the hell have I managed this? He would do whatever they say. It would set us backwards. You're not going to win anything with Gareth Southgate. I'm sorry, you're not. But if INEOS want a puppet to control, and that's their criteria, not a winner, not somebody who's going to set the bar higher, instill a mentality like Eric Ten Hag has, then Gareth Southgate is your man, you know? Because, I don't know, but it does make me concerned. But we'll obviously have to wait and see what happens with this Gareth Southgate story. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if, you know, as somebody said earlier on in the chat, if Manchester United do sack Eric Ten Hag, then Gareth Southgate is going to be high up on that list. You know, if you look at the bookies, the odds, he's high up on the list, and he has been for a very, very long time. If he was to win the Euros, I imagine he would be the Man United manager. Genuinely. Because it would be very difficult for, you know, Man United fans to... I mean, it wouldn't really, because everyone's kind of expecting England to win the Euros, aren't they? Who's the... Let's have a look at the bookies, what they're saying. So, yeah, I mean, England are currently the favourite to win the Euros at the bookies. They're number one, then France, then Germany, then Portugal. So if Gareth Southgate doesn't win the Euros, he's failed. Because we should be winning the Euros with the squad we have. Everybody thinks we're going to win the Euros. You know, the bookies think we're going to win the Euros. I know France have got a good team, Germany have as well, but we've got a whole squad of like generational talent there. You know, the Cole Palmers, the Kobe Mainoos, the Sakas, the Phil Fodens. You know, we've got some incredible players, Harry Kane, etc., etc. So that's the big test, isn't it? And I think maybe INEOS are just delaying things. Maybe they are just waiting it out to see what happens at the Euros, to see if they can kind of, you know, bring in their man, because that is you know, who apparently is the number one target. That's what is being said this evening. But obviously their number one target isn't available. Yeah, I mean, there's some more breaking news coming out here from a very reliable journalist saying that apparently United sources have indicated that the season review conducted by Jim Ratcliffe and his football operations team remains ongoing, and there is no timescale in terms of its anticipated completion. So the news coming out from the club is that they're just going to drag it on and on and on and on and on. I mean, let that sink in for a minute. They're still doing their review. Why would that be? Do you think it's because they're waiting for the manager they want to become available? Gareth Southgate? I mean, it's possible, isn't it? The Euros finishes on the 14th of July. I think that's in 4 weeks, is it? Let's have a look quickly. 1, 2... Yeah, so literally the Euros finishes in like 4 weeks. It's already been 2 weeks since the FA Cup final. What's to say they don't drag it out for another 4 weeks? It's worrying, isn't it? But obviously we've just got to wait and see what happens with that one. For me, Gareth Southgate is a definite no, 100%. I think, yeah, it doesn't fill me with any excitement whatsoever, but we'll wait and see what happens with that one, shall we? Yeah, and the same journalist is saying that if Man United sack Erik ten Hag, they'll have to pay him about £10 million in compensation because we qualified for Europe. And they'll have to pay off all of his staff as well. So it is long. I'm going to wrap the video up here, though, guys. I will be back tomorrow morning at 11. Please do smash a like on your way. On your way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We're literally like 1 subscriber away from 23,000. So please do go and subscribe. If we get any breaking news this evening, I will go live, obviously. Have a good night, everybody. I'll speak to you all at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.